What's going on, everybody? This is Mortym bringing you Stage 6 of the Maelstrom Arena as the Venom Claw, which is the build I made for the changes to the Dragon Knight for the Dark Brotherhood. Now, truthfully, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get this one done. This stage is very hard. If you don't know much about it, I would say it's probably one of the hardest in the Maelstrom Arena simply because of the mechanic. You have to drag those Horvors, which are those gross tick-looking things, over to the obelisks that have the webs on them to drop the webs. Occasionally they will glow, which will protect you from spider waves later on. It doesn't really happen so much in the first round here, but it becomes very important later. And so long as you don't die, they will stay unwebbed if you keep them that way. You also have to watch out for another mob called the Web Spinner, which will occasionally re-web the obelisks. Now, as you can see the little spider wave there, it's not something you have to worry about too much in the first round, but it is something to be aware of. Now, the first round's pretty straightforward. A lot of little mobs. You occasionally get these bigger ones like the Dire Wasp, but mostly it's just introducing you to stuff. It's not super hard. The only thing that's difficult is the Flesh Atronach at the end. Yeah, right there. He hits very hard melee range. You can block it. I really suck at doing it because I can't always tell when he's about to hit me, but it is possible to actually block most of his attacks and take pretty minimal damage from it. I've seen people do it. It's not something I'm very good at doing myself, but it is possible. Other than that, he doesn't have an insane health pool or anything, so you just kind of got to whittle him down, which with the Venom Claw is very easy. I can hit him and then run as I take care of the rest of the stuff, and the dots pretty much take care of him from there. Nothing too crazy. So, round 2 is where it starts to heat up a bit. You want to drag the Horvors over to the obelisks as much as you can here. Now, the Spider-Kith Berserker will stun you, so that's something to look out for. You gotta watch that. Now, the Archer will do more damage than the Berserker does, but as a Dragon Knight with reflective scales, it's not a huge deal that I kill him immediately. I just need to be aware of when he's trying to hit me. Drag the Horvor over to the obelisk here, and wait for the second round spawn. On this one, I would tell you that the Innervator is actually probably what you should go for if you're not avoiding spiders like I was there. Of the regular mobs, I'm pretty sure the Innervator hits the hardest of all of them. His shock attack will do ridiculous damage to you. As you can see, the Web Spinner managed to get one of our obelisks there, because I'm really, really bad at paying attention to the Web Spinners. All of the trouble I had with this round was less damage on my end and more the mechanic was murdering me. As you can see, there's that Web Spinner over there I don't think I get to in time, maybe? Yeah. Just barely. They don't have a lot of health. What I actually recommend from trying this so many times, I do manage to finish the round here, but if I could give you a tip in the future that I kind of learned, it's better to put down Endless Hail on your way to them, and then hit them once or twice and not use up too much of your stamina. It's not really a big deal here in these little rounds, but in the later rounds it is crucial that you save as much of your stamina as possible. Because this round especially, because we don't have, well, not just this round, the whole thing really, because we don't have a gap closer as the Venom Claw, stamina becomes very important because you need to get to those Web Spinners. And the faster you do that, the better. So I found myself sprinting quite often. And the problem with that is it murders your stamina, which makes other parts of the round very difficult. So, another Flesh Atronach here. Again, same thing as before, block when you can. His big charge up is easy to see, but the rest of it, as you can tell, I do a terrible job of blocking, but it can be done. Now then, on to round 3 here. This one is very difficult. Of all of the 4 rounds of this one, I died on round 3 probably like 10 times before I got it. It starts with the Innervator and the Berserker. You want to focus on the second part spawns a Dread Scorpion, a Dire Wasp, and another Innervator. I would tell you to focus on the Innervator where you can, and keep an eye out for the Web Spinner, because on this round, is when it really starts becoming important that you focus on those obelisks. Because if they get down, you will die to the spiders on this round very quickly. Not a big deal, first 2 rounds because this doesn't happen as often. But in this round, they actually start throwing the spiders at you fairly often. So, we let the innovator kill himself on our reflective scale, and the spider kid captain is a huge pain. Do as much damage to him as you can without dying. He has a very large health pool in comparison to a normal model, and he is not even the mini-boss for this. So, Hidden Blade, Blood Craze, Venomous Claw, and then just spam what you can to try to save your stamina, because it does occasionally wind up attack uppercut. And at about 50%, it summons into Archer. If you can, that's when I like to use the defensive power-up right there, because Archer can kill themselves on it, and you don't have to worry about too much of it. Focus on avoiding spiders and attacking with the spider kill captain. Now, at about, I believe it is like 20 or so %, he summons in the Flesh Astronaut and another innovator. This is probably the hardest part of the round to me, so it's where I like to pick up the healing power-up. Kill the innovator while avoiding the Flesh Astronaut. Have the spider kid captain low enough. Probably just go ahead and kill him off. Focus on the innovator after that. Use reflective scales to make him kill himself on it if you need to. He does occasionally do that for it, but just focus on working the Flesh Astronaut down after that with Hidden Blade, Blood Craze, Venomous Claw. Use your AoE dots if you need to, but I don't find them. It's only one person. Now that is probably the hardest round. I actually have an easier time with round 4. It starts with a Lurcher, an Innovator, and a Berserker. Focus on the Innovator first. If you can kill the Berserker, he takes a lot of damage from the dots, but what you need to look out for is, of course, the Lurcher. He hits very hard, as the fact that he is bigger would tend to suggest. Now, as you can see, the Berserker died pretty fast there. When the Lurcher does his little wind-up, if you interrupt him, you can get a few seconds of free damage off on him, which is what I did there. When he is about dead, it spawns in the Zivalvi Toxicoli, I guess is how you pronounce that. He hits pretty hard, but most of his ranged attacks are reflectable. That little wind-up, and then when he does his big triangular attack there, just get out of it. If he tries to uppercut, block. If he tries to uppercut, block, of course. And then, other than that, he's pretty straightforward. When he gets to very low health, he summons in 2 archers and a berserker. I think it's about 25%, I'm not sure. Again, that's a great time to pick up the defense power-up, so the archers will kill themselves on it, giving you time to focus on hopefully not getting stunned by the berserker, as well as finishing off the Toxicoli, or however that is pronounced. After that, you want to finish off the archers, because again, they do a lot more damage than the berserker does. We had to kind of break for the spiders there. We got about half of them in that one. And then we had to kill the web spinner, but we were too late. Now this is the annoying part. If you don't have more than one obelisk up, sometimes it will not always be glowing, even though it's unwebbed when the spiders show up, so they wind up doing that. Now, when you get those guys done, it summons in 2 lurchers, which is the end of it. These guys are kind of hard because there's 2 of them. They both hit very hard. Focus down one the best you can. Usually they're going to be doing some interrupt thing, the little, I forget what that's called, that move, but when they're doing that little twist around, you can kind of focus one down while the other one is busy with that. Now again, when you only have one obelisk up, the spiders will take a second because that obelisk isn't necessarily always glowing, and that can get you murdered, which is why you want more than one. I have a terrible job. I do a terrible job of focusing on the Horvors and the web spinners. On the boss round, it's actually much easier because that's a huge part of the fight, but I find it very difficult for the rest of it. Now the boss. This was a challenge, and it's not a DPS problem. If you follow this build, it's a mechanic problem. Because I died, I had to reset all the obelisks. So when she spawns, do as much damage as you can. She's going to summon a Horvor in, spin it, take it to the obelisk. She then summons a Spider Danger in. Go ahead and try to nuke it down as fast as you can. Watch out for the web spinners. It's very important. After you kill a web spinner, another Horvor will be there almost immediately. Use your bow to pull him to the obelisk you need to, in this case, if he spawns on the other side of the arena, which happens sometimes. But you should have the obelisks done pretty fast. If you're really good, you can actually get all but one obelisk down, and then as the boss spawns, you can get the last one, and you can basically murder her in one stage. But I suck and died a bunch of times, so that is not what happened. I wound up having to focus on the Horvors and the web spinners. Now, the longer it takes you to get all of the obelisks unwebbed, the more she powers up. It will get to a point, if you take too long, that she will one-shot you. So just focusing her down and completely ignoring the obelisks is not really an option. I mean, if your damage is just insane, you might be able to manage it. But because this is a dot build, it just wasn't going to happen. She doesn't have a terrible lot of health, but between all of the mechanics and her powering up, I just don't see it happening without you focusing on this at least once. Now, we have all but one obelisk after this guy, so it's important, at least to me at least, that you get one of the obelisks next to the damage power-up as the last one. Because at that point, as soon as the Horvor dies, we can pick up the power-up and then just basically murder the boss. So we have her down to about 58%. We pick up the power-up. I was actually out of stamina trying to use my AoE, realized I was out of stamina, went ahead and popped the ultimate, then used my stamina, so I actually lost a bit of damage right there because I wasn't paying enough attention to my stamina bar. But I could have had her down to like 25% had I been paying attention, but after that, she should be low enough that you can just focus her down. She doesn't have a lot of life, and because you've reset her power-up, which is what getting all the obelisks does when it stuns her, she shouldn't have enough life for it to be a problem at this point, and you should be able to just focus her down if you can stay away from the Lurcher, which is what I do here. Very, very hard fight, but as you can see, it is doable. So if you like the build, please subscribe, but have a great day either way.